growing garlic, hardneck, softneck, and elephant garlic. Hi there, this is Kate, and I'd like to tell you a little bit about garlic. Why now? Well, because it's fall and it's getting cold and it's time to plant it. Here in New England, you have to really plant garlic in the fall. You can plant it in the spring with mixed results. But garlic cloves, and you do plant them from cloves, not from seed. The seed's rarely viable. You do plant them, uh, by the little cloves, and they need to be cold stratified. So what a great way to cold stratify them, just bury them in the ground. So, so that's what we do. In other climates, they have to put them in the fridge for 6 weeks or what have you, but Mother Nature does that for us. Cold stratifies our garlic. So, there are three types of garlic: hardneck garlic, softneck garlic, and elephant garlic. I grow all three, and I wanted to tell you the similarities of them and the differences between them. Let's talk about the hardneck garlic. It's known, I guess it's really a myth that it's the garlic that's cold hardy because there are several varieties of soft neck and of course elephant garlic that you can grow right here in New England in Zone 6A, uh, Massachusetts anyway. So, but let's talk about hardneck. Typically, the garlic cloves. Well, first of all, if you get a garlic bulb and you break it into cloves, a garlic bulb can have anywhere between 3 and 3 dozen cloves. And you break each clove apart. Each clove can give you one head of garlic. So if you get a good good head of garlic, that will make you 20, 30 other heads of garlic just with one head by planting them. All garlics are planted pointy side up, fuzzy side down. I'd say about 2 inches into the ground, under the ground. And what do you feed them? You can put a little bit of you feed them. You put some good compost in it. Compost is not a fertilizer, obviously. It's a soil amendment, but you do put some loomy soil in there, maybe a little bit of sand in it, soft soil, just like you'd plant any bulb, onion bulb or what have you. Fairly soft soil, but loomy, kind of rich and with some amount of compost in it. And then what some people do is they sprinkle in some bone meal. Bone meal is ground up bones, and it's a byproduct of the slaughterhouses, but and it's kind of gross when you think about it. But if you're going to kill an animal to eat it, you may as well use up the bones just out of respect for the animal. So you sprinkle a little bit of bone meal down. Get it right on the bottom. Don't be afraid that the roots are going to touch it. Sprinkle it right down on the bottom. Mix it in a little bit, and then stick your cloves in 2 to 3 inches down, fuzzy side down, pointy side up, and space them at least 4 inches apart. And the rows can be whatever. The rows can be at least 4 inches apart, but probably more if you need to move around in there. So the 12 inches would be good. But you can really plant a lot of garlic. So from one head of garlic, and the benefit of growing it is number one, people buy it from you if you want to sell it. You grow organic garlic and people love it. And the other thing is it takes up real estate. You plant it in the fall and in October at this time or early November before we have a hard freeze, right? You plant it in the ground and then you harvest it in July. So nothing really else. There's a few things, flower bulbs and, daffodils and crocus bulbs and what have you that you plant in the fall. But basically, you have a lot of real estate out there. Your beds are fairly empty, so you can plant it. As I say, I told you, 2 to 3 inches down, pointy side up, 4 inches apart in decent soil, soft, loomy soil, and then mulch it over. Keep it warm. Treasure that. That's, treat it like your baby. If you treat your plants well, they will feed you well. But put about, I'd say, 2 or 3 inches of mulch over top of it. And if you're frugal, you can use crushed up leaves. Don't put full leaves on there. They can mat on there and they get soggy, and you don't want that. If you run them over with a lawnmower, you can use those leaves on there. You know, just or I use shredded straw as a mulch. It's just easier. You can use regular straw, the kind that's you get in the bale, but it's kind of clunky to use and it's long and stringy and it's a pain in the neck. I get the bags of mulching straw. I think it's also called Easy Straw. You can get it, I believe I've gotten it at Lowe's, I got it at Tractor Supply, and there's one of the Agway usually has it. One big bag will give you enough for 500 square feet. So put it on, I'd say at least two. Don't be afraid that oh, maybe my garlic bulbs aren't going to be able to grow through all that mulch. Believe me, they'll find a way. So, um, so that's all you do. You plant it. When you plant anything, you water it in real good, and um, then you wait. And in the spring, probably April maybe, you see the green, the stalk coming up. And then, it keeps coming. You don't. This is why you don't plant it in the warmer weather, because if you plant a garlic, you plant your cloves in the warm weather, maybe in the summer, maybe July or what have you. They take a long time to grow. It's a few months that you do have to let them grow. And if they're nice and green and baby shoots, and you get a freeze, then they could die. So you really want them in that winter time to concentrate on growing a nice fat bulb for you and not shooting up. That's why, uh, that's basically why you plant them when you do, because now in October, November, the days are not exceptionally long, as you know, and the sun isn't that strong. Typically, it's going to go up to 75 degrees. I'm surprised here in November, but in any case, um, that's the way it is. So, in the late spring, if you have hardneck garlic, you will see this branchy looking thing, stem thing grow up. It grows tall, and then it kind of turns around, like makes like a shepherd's hook type of shape. And on the bottom, you see a flower start to form. It's trying to produce a seed. It will really not be a super viable seed from the hardneck garlic, because garlic really it doesn't reproduce well from a seed. That's why we're not planting seeds. We are actually planting the garlic cloves. However, in the spring, when you see that stalk come up and then bend, curve around, in June, it's time to cut them. You cut them all the way to the base of the plant. Why? Well, because if that garlic plant is concentrating on trying to flower, it's not concentrating on growing you a nice fat bulb underneath the ground, which is what you really want. So you cut that stalk. It's not going in the compost though. What you do is you cut it into sections. You can cut it on the diagonal, and then you have these little pieces. They almost look like a small, skinny celery or something, but anyway, or a scallion, maybe the white part. Well, no, actually it's green, light green. But anyway, you can stir fry them. You can put them in soups. It has a mild garlic flavor, but people love garlic scapes. I harvest my garlic every year, and I chop my garlic scapes up. SCAPE, scape. I chop them up and I blanch them, which means I uh, uh, boil them for 2 minutes, and then I put them in ice water to completely stop the cooking process. What that does is it makes it cleans it really well, and it brings the color out, and they actually stay fresh longer. And then I vacuum seal them. All my stuff that I freeze, I vacuum seal. I have a decent vacuum sealer. So hardneck garlic. Well, since we're talking about that, hardneck garlic, you can't braid it. You see those pretty braids? You can't braid it. Why? Because it has a hard neck. It has a hard stem. So what you do is you do just, I don't know, tie them together with a string or something, and you can hang them up. But keep them someplace that's dry and cool and cool and dry and dark, and they'll cure. They call it cure, which means they grow a little thick of skin so that they'll last a while. The typical hardneck garlic. Now, the jury's out. This is not an exact science. If you have a place that's cool, 45 to 55, and you're in very dark and has some air for circulation, you may get some that last longer. But on the average, they last 3 or 4 months before they dry up. They'll shrivel up. They'll be half their size. Now, but that's okay because you can freeze them. You can do the same thing with that I do with the scapes. You can actually wash them for boil them or steam them for a couple minutes, and then dump them into an ice water bath and for a couple minutes, and that's what the blanching process. And then you can put them in the vacuum sealer bag and zip them all up. You could also do other stuff with them. You can chop it up and dehydrate it as well. But let me tell you, if you put garlic in your dehydrator, you better like the smell of it because it's going to permeate through the whole house. So if I were going to do that to my garlic, I would dehydrate it outdoors, or the dogs will go crazy with that smell of garlic. So so that's basically hardneck um, garlic. I told you can freeze it. Uh, you can dehydrate it, but it only lasts 2 to 4 months, generally speaking. Um, and the hardneck garlic cloves are typically bigger, but you get fewer of them. Do you like that? I think it's nice to get a nice fat bulb of garlic, and this isn't true all the time. But generally speaking, the hardneck garlic has the bigger sized bulbs, but fewer of them. Oh, excuse me. I don't mean that. The bigger size cloves. So you may get a clove of garlic. No, sorry. The bulbs. You may get a whole bulb of garlic and it only has 3 or 4 cloves on it. Or you may get a bulb of garlic that has 15 cloves on it. But there are more of them, but they're smaller. Which one do you like? It's really a personal preference. So, but the generally speaking, they tend to get they're a little bit bigger cloves on the head of garlic. So let's talk about the softneck garlic. Now, softneck garlic has a wonderful lifespan. Well, first of all, it doesn't give you escape. How can you tell when it's ready? Pretty much if you plant it, like I say, in the fall when the weather starts going, I'm talking about late October, November. If you plant it then, it's going to be ready in July. You will know because the stalk, just like an onion, they're allium, same family as onion, right? The uh, the garlic will die. This green part will die and it'll kind of flop over. And if there's any, and they're not going to grow anymore. It can't grow any more of a bulb when when the plant itself is dead. So it's done, son. So that's as good as it's gonna get. So if you want to see how they're doing, you can kind of scratch the earth a little bit and dig around, and it's not going to hurt anything, and see how big the bulb is. You got to really dig down. They grow, they're pretty deep. Remember, they're 2 or 3 inches down. So soft neck garlic, after it kind of dies in uh, the stalks flop over, don't cut them off, okay? Don't cut the stalks off. All right. Take them when you harvest your garlic, probably in July, and braid them. It's really a cute thing. Looks really nice. Braid them, and then you can hang them somewhere inside, where it's cooler and dry. Maybe, you can, the cooler the better. And if you do that for a few weeks, the garlic is considered cured. And a soft neck garlic has a shelf life of 10 or so months. That means you don't really have to uh, freeze it or can it. You can just take one when you need it. Take it out of your pantry, one head at a time, and use it up that way. So that's the soft neck garlic, and typically, as I say, it does not produce a scape though. So you don't have that scape to that nice, juicy, mild onion flavor. Now, they say that the soft neck garlic is not as flavorful as the hard neck garlic. I don't know if that's true. I think it depends on the variety, but in general, they say that the hard neck garlic has a sharper taste to it. But I'd play around. And there's also, myth, a lot of myths, urban legends, not urban legends, but fallacies, just fake news about gardening. So they say that soft neck garlic doesn't grow well in the cold New England weather. Well, it does, but what you might want to do is you look for a variety. First of all, do your research. If you're buying seed, first when you first get it, you got to either get it from somebody or you buy what they call organic seed garlic, and you want to get it organic, right? And you look for words like cold hardy. You also look for these there's one called uh, Russian red. Um, there's also kale. That when you see Russian or the variety that says Polish something or other or German something, it gets cold in those places, and they grow garlic there. So if it's going to grow in Putin's Russia, believe me, it's going to grow in Blackstone, Massachusetts. So those soft neck garlics are absolutely fine for our area. They have a longer shelf life. You don't have to can them or freeze them. There are uh, more cloves on the head itself, but they tend to be, they say, generally speaking, a little bit smaller. I'm trying to think of what else. In general, since you harvest, this is all over, this is generally speaking for garlic. You harvest your garlic in July. Excuse me. That's right, in July. You plant it in October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July. That's a 9 month period. You harvest it in July, and then you're going to plant it July, August, September, October, maybe November. So you only have to hold it like 3 months. So wouldn't it make sense to take some of those cloves and just take them off? Maybe the biggest, fattest ones, take them off and just stick them back in the ground in 3 months so you don't have to spend $50 on buying an organic seed garlic. Don't buy just garlic, regular old garlic from Market Basket that's not organic. They spray stuff on that to inhibit it from sprouting so that it'll be last longer, in your pantry or what have you. So you have if you want to buy use the garlic from your grocery store, make sure it's organic because they don't spray it and it will probably be viable. But then again, if you can save your own, listen, if it grew well in your backyard last year, it'll probably grow, just as good this year. So keep that in mind. Okay. So I went over the hard neck, I went over the soft neck, and then let's talk about elephant garlic. Elephant garlic grows to this big. It's a big old bulb, okay? Um, but often it really doesn't. It might form as a little bulb and a bulb, a decent sized bulb, and then three little bulbs with no cloves on them. So it's funky. It can be a deformed type of plant. Don't think you did anything wrong. It is a funky plant, believe me. Um, and the thing about the elephant garlic is it's not a true garlic. It's actually a cross between a garlic and a leek. Leeks are wonderful. They're wonderfully mild tasting oniony stuff, and I love leeks. But so an elephant garlic is actually not a true garlic. It doesn't have a scape. Uh, it's not a hard neck. It does actually flower at the top. If you leave it up there, it actually flower like a leek. You'll see it. But it does grow a big huge bulbs, and sometimes I'll say they're kind of deformed. But don't let the looks fool you. They still taste good. They taste like a sweet. If you like the real pungent garlic, this is not the kind for you. But if you want bragging rights and you want to, pull a garlic piece that's as big as half a lemon, one garlic clove, and get your bragging rights from Facebook, you can probably do it because they grow so large. The other the other benefit of elephant garlic is that they have a shelf life of 10 months, long as they're kept cool, dark, and dry. Cool, dark, and dry. CDD. Just remember that, when you store seeds or when you store uh, uh, winter squash, potatoes, cool, dark, and dry. That's what you have to remember. So there's 10 months there. I grow a variety of onion. I grow them right next to each other. So I think now I have probably about 20 cloves going. That's fine. That'll be fine. And then in the spring, and I grow them in my deep bed, 17 inches. You don't really have to. They probably need a good 8 inches to grow. I've had some decent ones grow in 8-inch deep soil. But lately I've been finding that anytime I grow a root vegetable or a bulb vegetable, which is different, um, I find if I grow them in deeper soil, they do better. The deeper the soil, the better. Um, that seems to be true with onion. It seems to be true with garlic. It seems to be true with beets and carrots as well. The deeper the soil, the better they do. And you need to use a soft soil. Put some sand in there, loomy, sandy type of soil. Um, so I think that's it for the garlic. In garlic, like I say, you can make some money out of it. The other thing that's interesting about it is used by everybody all over the world, all cuisines, from India, the subcontinent of India, to Asia, to all over Europe, South America, every place. Of course, we like it. So it's one of those vegetables that's amazingly made its way around the world. So I hope you like this video. Again, I am Kate Donovan from Blackstone Valley Veggie Gardens, and follow me on Facebook. And please like this video, and I hope to see you soon. Thank you.